Who is it? Hi. How was your weekend, my friend, with the kids and everything?
Amazing.
Yeah. How was the camping? Really good.
So incredible.
Excellent.
First time camping out of 10. All three kids were perfect.
Did you didn't pass cold or anything? Because usually when it happens, like you camp, it's super hot, you're taking everything out, and then in the middle of the night at 2 a.m., it's like, I'm freezing.
I brought extra blankets.
Okay.
I pulled them over all of us when the girls got cold.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, good thinking.
it went really well. And 1 second. Okay, sound check is good.
Excellent.
Um, one more time.
So what happened is that sometimes you are so cold, and then you wake up at 7 in the morning because so bright. You are in the tent, and the tent started sweating, and you are like, oh my god, I have to get out of here.
The weather was perfect.
Excellent. Hi, Diane. Hello. I'm good. How are you?
Good afternoon, everyone. This is County Executive Pat Ryan. Thank you for joining us. In case you lost track over the holiday weekend, today is Tuesday. I know everybody's getting back into things, work and school. We'll talk more about that in a moment. But I hope that you were able to enjoy a little bit of a reprieve and a rest and a recharge over the holiday weekend. And in particular, let's not forget that Labor Day is about thanking our workers, in particular our union workers who do so much for us in normal times and through COVID have been really the backbone of our response, from keeping us healthy, keeping us safe, responding in crisis, maintaining all of our critical infrastructure, and so much more. So a belated happy Labor Day to everyone out there. And a special thanks to our whole workforce, our Ulster County workforce, for what you do every single day for the people of the county. We'll quickly talk about the public health situation and how we're doing with COVID, and then I'm also going to talk a little bit about what's happening with schools and childcare, which I know is very much top of mind for many folks, especially today, including my wife and I. So, COVID by the numbers. To start, we are in very good shape and continue to be holding steady at a very low infection rate. Since the beginning of the pandemic, we've had a total of 2,215 cases. That's out of now over 80,000 tests completed, 81,596 to be exact. We have had almost 2,000 residents recover, and thankfully, we're now holding steady at 94 fatalities and have been for several weeks, and of course, hope that we remain in that same position. Hospitalizations and how we're doing there. We are still at 2 individuals hospitalized in Ulster County for COVID, but as you can see from the graph, we have been at virtually 0, hovering between 0, 1, 2 for many months now, thankfully down from a peak where we were, if you remember in April, pretty much right to that line and very worried about our capacity, and thankfully did not exceed it. Active cases in Ulster County, we're at 128 active cases right now. That number also remains steady at that level. And most encouragingly and most important metric, number of new infections. These are some of the best numbers for new infections that we've had really since the beginning of the pandemic. In the last 48 hours, we've had, out of 870 tested, we've had only 2 new positive cases. That puts us at a 0.23% infection rate. And believe it or not, in the last 24 hours, we had 0 new cases. There's only been a few of those days or 24-hour periods in quite a while. So obviously we're not through it, but really glad to continue to see us holding steady and holding strong right at that well below now 1% infection rate level. And we should all be really proud that we've gotten to this point, we've held at this point, even as we're continuing to open and move forward. Hospital capacity, we are in good shape here. We still have, as I said, 2 individuals in hospital beds now with COVID, but more than adequate capacity, so rest assured there. As a transition to where we're going and where we are, where we've been, this all has worked because everyone has mobilized, everyone has done their part to recognize that the only way we get out of the COVID situation, until we have a vaccine, is to each individually be responsible for our actions and to think about the impact on others. I know everyone tuned in is acutely aware of that, but please continue to share that message with everyone that you see and encourage them to do the same. At the individual level, that means the big 3 that we now know well: wear masks, maintain social distancing, and wash hands and use hand sanitizer. They have worked and they're continuing to work. And at the business level and the organization level, thank you to are thousands of business owners and leaders of organizations who have put so much thought and work into making sure that your customers and your employees remain safe, and that we don't let our guard down on all of these protective measures. The last thing, of course, any of us want to see is any sort of a backward slide. And I really am very proud and impressed that we've been able to hold this even as we've continued the reopening through all the phases, and now well into that. So that's the kind of immediate and looking forward COVID situation. The other thing that I wanted to just briefly talk about with everyone today, I know it's very much top of mind for thousands, probably tens of thousands of parents, thousands of students, and of course, teachers and educators and faculty. Today is, for most of our districts in Ulster County, back to school day, although it definitely does not feel like the normal, anywhere near the normal back to school day. So I recognize that now for months, how we've done education has been thrown on its head, and everyone has scrambled from every angle to try to make this work. I do want to remind everyone in Ulster County that at this point, all of our districts to varying degrees are starting not in person, but through online and remote learning as a safety precaution, of course. Each district does have a slightly different timeline and slightly different procedures, so I'm sure parents already know this by now, but just for everyone else's awareness, each district has laid out extensive plans and are working through those plans, starting executing many of them today with online learning beginning. I do want to remind everyone, though, that if and when our school districts do choose to go back in person, which could be as soon as early October, we stand ready as a county. We have already developed and continue to refine our rapid response plan for schools. Obviously, this really only goes into primarily into effect when we have in-person students there, but we do have many districts with faculty back in place. And so I want to quickly remind everyone that we do have our really 5-part rapid response plan for schools specifically. It's similar to the plans we've executed in other places. I won't go too in depth, but it starts with that identification phase where through testing and screening, we can rapidly detect and early detect any COVID. We investigate with our rapid response team and contact tracing. We isolate with extensive protocol that we've been working with each of our school districts on using their health staff and our health department. And then, of course, throughout, continue to communicate with the whole community. And finally, as everyone is getting reopened, we want to make sure that they have adequate PPE. So as part of that, we have made that investment and are now able to provide 30,000 plus masks for all students and all staff in every one of our 9 districts in Ulster County. We know that that's just one mask. Obviously, you may need more at some point, but at least as a starting point to make sure that every single member of the school community has that critical piece of PPE to keep everyone safe and healthy. Again, I know this is not what any of us expected going into all of this year, but in particular, when we made the decision going back to March, I think it was March 12th, if I'm remembering right, to close our schools in response to the very rapid and accelerating spike of COVID. When we made that decision, we didn't know what lay ahead, but I think many of us did assume that come the next school year, we would get back to some sense of normal. Obviously, we unfortunately are not there yet, but I know how much work has been put into preparing by our superintendents, principals, teachers, and other staff and faculty, so thank you to them. One of the big challenges, though, that has emerged in the midst of this, as we try to get students and young people back learning online, is that it has created a tremendous pressure point on parents, especially working families with either a single parent that's working or two parents that are working, which is the predominance of our families here in the county, just like my wife and I. And the pressure that I know, speaking to so many, that each of our parents are under to get themselves back to work in a very crazy dynamic, and then think about how am I going to make sure my children are set up to learn and be safe while I need to work, sometimes from home, sometimes can't be home. The logistics of that are huge, but most importantly, the economic challenge, the financial pressure of that. You now have many families that didn't need childcare before, now needing some way in the midst of so much other financial pressure to figure out how am I now going to pay to make sure that my child is safe and healthy and taken care of and able to learn. So this is just again, an overwhelming set of challenges that I know thousands of people in our county are facing, and that today especially they're feeling that pressure. So we wanted to try to figure out what we can do as a county and as a community to help those with that need. And so we thought back to what we actually did with Project Resilience, going back to March and April and May, around food insecurity. And what we really did was, in the midst of an unprecedented time, developed an innovative model where we partnered with community groups. We raised philanthropic money into a community fund. We had volunteers, and we really built the airplane mid-flight, as it goes, as the saying goes, and figured out how to make this work and how to get food to thousands of households, and delivered hundreds of thousands of meals. So to meet what is an evolving set of needs in our community, we're now going to sort of pivot and expand Project Resilience to focus on helping families with childcare needs, because that really has become a major challenge and pain point for so many. So what are we going to do? At the heart of it, we are going to leverage the same philanthropic funds. We have some funds left still that we've been using for food, but we recognize that childcare is a critical need as well. So we're shifting some of those funds and setting up, at least initially, a $200,000 fund specifically for a Project Resilience child care initiative. And what this will really let us do is, we have some programs to support those with need getting their kids in childcare, but this funding will let us significantly expand who qualifies. So basically, we'll use this $200,000 to help as many families as we can pay for some or all, in some cases, of their child care costs. Many people aren't aware, but even pre-COVID, part of what Ulster County does through our Department of Social Services is help those with economic need, and those that are, to be very wonky about it, those that are at 200% of the poverty level, to help them pay for childcare. What we're going to do with this fund is up that threshold so that many more families qualify for this assistance and use these funds to make up the difference. So I won't go into all the numbers because it really depends based on the size of your family, but all of those details are posted on our website. What this will really mean at the end of the day is that in two different ways, we'll use these funds to help hundreds, at least, of families in the county now be able to make childcare more affordable. Number one, if you already are in an official childcare facility regulated by the state OCFS, Office of Children and Family Services, those folks will expand who can qualify under that and help you pay for more of that. The second category is if you have children in what are called school-age programs. So think YMCA, Boys and Girls Club, CCE in the city of Kingston, and other programs like that. Usually those programs only ran before school and after school. They are now going to run throughout the day, and they're opening up their slots, but we know that people may not be able to afford that, so we're also going to come in and offer essentially scholarships for those programs. I know that's a lot of detail to throw at you verbally. So again, all of the details about our Project Resilience Childcare Initiative are on our Ulster County website. You can go to the website listed there. It's our COVID-19 page, and there's a special schools section. But really, the easiest way to get your questions answered about whether you qualify for the program, and if so, how to get it set up, the Recovery Service Center, which we've had stood up since the beginning of COVID, has our live agents, our county workforce standing by to take those calls and to walk you through that process, and ultimately, if needed, hand you off to the appropriate agency. So if you are in need of childcare, which I know many are, and you're not sure the specifics, either start at our website, or if you just want to make it easy, you can start at the Recovery Service Center. They are there sort of through the normal business hours. Monday and Friday, they're there from 8 to 7, and Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, they're there from 8 to 5. Again, all that's on the website too. But call 845-443-8888, 443-8888. Folks there can, again, walk you through those details and your specific circumstances and hopefully get you set up. So zooming back out, I know I threw a lot of details and it's a little bit confusing. What this really means is, in this unprecedented time when we've had so many challenges and needs pop up that we really never anticipated and don't have any real, systems to deal with, we've built this Project Resilience to meet that need and to be agile and flexible and to work both with government and with not-for-profit partners. And so we're pivoting what we initially did with resilience around food to now help with childcare. I do want to specifically make sure, and I have a list so that I don't miss anyone, I do want to thank all of our partners that are working on this initiative, because the predominance of the services being provided are by a set of great not-for-profits and other organizations that have a long history of taking care of the young people and kids in our community. Partners for this child care initiative include Community Foundations of the Hudson Valley, the Benjamin Center at SUNY New Paltz, United Way of Ulster County, Family of Woodstock, our Ulster County Child Care Council, YMCA of Kingston, Healthy Kids, Ulster County Community Action, SUNY Ulster, Ulster BOCES, Boys and Girls Club, and the Center for Creative Education, among, I'm sure there are some others as well. To everyone, we really worked over a few-day period in a sprint mode to try to figure out how to do this. The program will officially start next week on the 14th. So you have this week to get enrolled if you're able, and then we can start getting that help to you. So thanks to everyone again that's made that possible, and we'll continue to roll out details as they develop and as we need to adjust. Those are the big updates for today. I'm really proud that we won't be able to meet everyone's need. I think with the funding we have available, we won't be able to support everyone. But at least initially, this will help hundreds of families in need. And I'm really proud that we're able to figure out how to make that work. And if we see that there's more need, we'll go back to the well and see if we can get more support generated. If folks want to give philanthropically, as the same way you did to Project Resilience for food, that is still an option. If you are in a position where you can help, basically help fund childcare for someone in need in our community, you can make a philanthropic donation to Project Resilience. It's the same page, and all the details are up on our webpage. It's managed by the United Way of Ulster County. So don't hesitate if you are able to do that. I know there's a lot of people in great need right now, so I hate to ask, but if you're in a position where you can, please consider doing that. By way of transitioning out, I will just thank everybody today. Especially, let's focus our thanks on our educators who are who are back at it today, our teachers, our principals, superintendents, all the faculty and staff at all of our schools throughout the county. What you do is so, so important, and what you've been asked to do over the last year really is unprecedented. So I know there's a lot more work ahead, but please know that we really greatly appreciate what you're doing, the risk you're taking, and how flexible you are being to make sure that we're taking care of our young people. To everyone else, all of our frontline workers, thank you as well. With that, we'll end it. If you have any questions about anything, childcare or otherwise, you can always call our Recovery Service Center. We'll put that number up one more time. Please share this widely. Please especially share the information about childcare. For those of you watching live, if you are able to get that out, I know how much need there is, and we hope that this will help. Our next update will be on Thursday at 2 p.m. I'm sure we'll have lots more exciting things to talk about then. In the meantime, please stay safe and healthy, be resilient, and we will see you on Thursday.